Leetcode practice time. So in this video there are two goals. The first goal is to see how to solve this problem, and the second goal is to see how we should behave in a real interview. So solution is the first purpose, and then the second one is to see how to behave in real interview. So let's get started. So remember, in a real interview, the first step is always try to understand the problem. If there is anything unclear, please bring up the question, and at the same time think about some edge cases. So let's take a look at this question. Scott merged two sorted linked lists and return it as a sorted list. So the list should be made by splicing together the nodes of the first two lists. Okay, so how to solve this problem? I think it's very obvious. There isn't too much of the room to find like a fancy solution for it. It's just about having two pointers pointing, each pointer point to the start node, and do the comparison. If the pointer let's say pointer 1 and pointer 2. So if the two numbers are the same, then we can choose to move either of that. So let's say we choose to move this one, the second pointer, and then we see that the number pointed by the first point, P1 and P2, they are different. So we are just going to move the pointer that points to the smaller number. So in this case, we are going to move P1 to the right by 1. So similarly, until we run out of the element in one pointer. So that's it. So let's give it a shot by doing some coding work. And also the runtime is going to be, let's say the length of L1 is n and the length of L2 is m, then it is O m plus n. The third part is about coding. So for coding, we care about the correctness of the code, the readability of the code, and of course the speed is a factor. So I would say if L1 is equal to a non-pointer, or L2 is equal to a non-pointer, then we just return L1 is equal to none. If yes, then return L2, otherwise return L1. So if either of them is none, then we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, we will define the header. So let's say list node, let's say it is head as new list node. Then let's say list node current is equal to head. So we will have okay, so we will just L1 and L2 as a pointer though. So I would say, well, L1 is not equal to non-pointer and L2 is not equal to a non-pointer. Then it's really just something like if L1 is dot value is smaller than L2 dot value, then we need to have current dot next is equal to L1 and is equal to L1 and current is equal to L1 and L1 is equal to L1 dot next, and we are going to set current dot next as a non-pointer. Okay, otherwise it is something like current dot next is equal to L2, and we will have the current is equal to L2 and L2 is equal to L2 dot next, and we are going to set the current dot next is equal to none. Yeah, so that should be it. And finally, if L1 is not equal to none, then we are going to set current.next is equal to L1. So if L2 is not equal to none, then current.next is equal to L2, and finally we return head.next. So that should be pretty much it. So let's do some sanity check about this piece of code. This last part is about testing. So let's see, we have example 1 and example 2. So currently we have head as a new node. Currently it's the head, which is like a virtual node here. It's just for us to easily get the merge the list. So we are going to say, okay, L1 dot value is smaller than L2 dot value. So it's not true, so it is equal. So we are going to say, okay, current.next is equal to 1, which is pointing to here, and the current is equal to, so current is currently here, and L2 is equal to L2.next, so L2 is moving here, and current.next is none pointer, so we are going to delete this linkage. And then next time we see that L1 is smaller, so we see that we are going to say, okay, the current, which is this node, .next is equal to L1, and we move the current to L1. And if L1, and then L1 is equal to L1.next, so L1 is here, and we are going to delete this linkage. So similarly, I think we should be able to get the final result. So let's give it a shot. Alright, so it's accepted. Let's do submission. Okay, so it seems like everything works. And that's it for this coding question. If you like this video, please help subscribe to this channel. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.